everyone, I'm Tanu Sharma and welcome to Take Me Back to the 90s podcast, where we journey back to the golden era of 90s. And our today's guest is very familiar face from the 90s. She graced iconic shows like Zaban, Sambhal, Dekh Bhai Dekh. Yes, she's none other than Bhavana Balsavar. How are you, ma'am?
Fine, thank you. And how are you? And hello and namaste to everyone out there.
I'm so happy that you joined today, ma'am. So my first question is, your family has such a rich history in film and theater world. Your mother is Shubha Kote. Of course, she comes from a family deeply rooted in acting. Your uncle, Viju
Yes.
Kote, was a very well-known name in, film industry, and your grandfather. So
Yes.
that was such an incredible legacy to be part of. And how did your journey as an actor begin?
After you've said everything you have, one would imagine and expect that I would naturally come into this industry because, as you said, the legacy, it's in the blood and everything. But all my growing years, I never wanted to be an actor. I mean, everyone said, "Oh, तुम तो बड़ी होकर actor बनोगे," and I said, "मैं कुछ भी बनूंगी, लेकिन actor नहीं बनूंगी," because I'm basically by nature I'm an introvert. So I could never imagine, standing in front of a camera and in front of so many people and emoting. I said, that's just not my cup of tea. And also, I was rather studious. I mean, I've been a good student. I'm a merit list student. So it was always, I was on the more academic incline. But I don't know, it just so high, as they say, it's in the blood, it's in your destiny. So I had accompanied my mom to one of her plays. She was doing a play with Bharat Dabolkar, I'm sure you know the name. So, and on the very opening night, one of the actors didn't turn up. So Bharat said, "It's a small part, will you just do it?" Because it was a review, they were just short skits. So I said, "I've never been on stage." He said, "Come on, you're from this family. How can you say you've never been?" I said, "No, even in school, I would opt out of all the dramatics and everything because I never wanted to be an actor." So I said, "No, I've never been on stage. I don't think I'll be able to do it." He said, "Come on, it's a small part. You've seen the rehearsals, you know what to do." So I said, "Okay, to help you, I'm doing it." And I was still in school at that time. I was giving my prelims in those days. So I went on stage and I delivered my line, thoroughly nervous, of course, but I got a feedback from the audience. And as they say, the bug bites you. It was that specific moment. I stood there on stage and I was mesmerized. I said, "Oh gosh, this is where I want to be for the rest of my life." So when I wanted to be anything but an actor. Now I cannot be anything but an actor.
Ma'am, which was your first show, Dekh Bhai Dekh or Zaban Sambhal Ke?
Well, it was Dekh Bhai Dekh, and Dekh Bhai Dekh was not meant to be aired in India at all. We were doing it just for a channel called Asia or TV Asia, which was specifically only in England. We were shooting, and every time we do things, and we said, "Oh, it's such fun! It's such a good show." And we always said, "Jungle mein mor nacha kisne dekha," because none of our people are going to be able to see this. So, but we were really enjoying doing that show. But then suddenly, Doordarshan decided to start another channel called DD Metro. And they approached Jayaji for some shows, and she said, "I'm already shooting this, so would you care to take it?" And they liked the whole thing, and they took it on. So it just so happened that we came onto Indian television, and it became a roaring success. And shortly after it was aired, I also got, I mean, before it was aired, I got Zaban Sambhal Ke. That also happened just last minute. I mean, I hadn't met the director, I hadn't met anybody. They'd had a reading of all the actors, but I was shooting for Dekh Bhai Dekh. And those days there was no mobile and stuff. So the director tried contacting me in RK Studios, and there used to be this one phone outside the set. So every time I'd go there, I'd reach, he had disconnected. When I tried to get through to him, he was not available. So it was a lot of hit and miss, but we finally managed to get in touch. And he said, "I need you for this particular role. The actor's doing it has let me down. So once again, I replaced somebody else. So will you do it? And I want to shoot from tomorrow." And fortunately, I had a break from Dekh Bhai Dekh, and I said, "Sure." And I went straight onto the set. No rehearsals, did not know what the character was. Of course, I knew that my uncle was going to be in it, my mom was in it, but I still didn't know anything about the show. So that was just, I was just thrown into that, and it was a whole lot of fun.
Ma'am, you played the role of Tamil actress in Zaban
Yes.
Sambhal Ke, right? It
Yes.
was shown that Tamil was your first language. You joined a Hindi learning classes. What were the challenges you faced while, working on that character? Of how fun it was?
Oh,
Uh,
that character was a whole lot of fun because the whole team was a lot of fun. So everything came to us very naturally. But yes, talking about Tamil, one tends to, overdo a South Indian accent without really knowing. But fortunately for me, I am partly South Indian, as in I'm Mangalorean. Balsavar is a Mangalorean surname, so my dad's a Mangalorean. So I had that sort of background, but not Tamil. And I watch a lot of South Indian films. I enjoy them. So I sort of took that on, and it was a comedy. So obviously we had to go a little overboard, but I didn't want to make a mockery of the language because I respect all languages and I respect them very much. But for me, the biggest compliment was when I was shopping somewhere and one South Indian lady, one Tamilian old lady came to me and started talking to me that. So I was like, I asked her daughter, I said, what is she saying? She says she thinks you're Tamilian, so she's talking to you in that language. I think the best compliment I've ever got. So, and as coming back to what you asked, that show was a whole lot of fun because for us, that was a picnic. We would look forward to shooting. We'd shoot probably from 9 in the morning to 6 o'clock, and we'd finish the entire episode because it was a multicam setup, and all of us were in tune with what was happening and in tune with our characters. But on that show, it was always that every day someone would bring something to eat. So more than looking forward to the shoot, we used to look forward, like Pankaji would bring his typical bun maska, which was excellent. It was some milk bread and stuff. Tom used to bring keema pao. So we were just all, it was a huge picnic. And everyone, though everyone came from different backgrounds, like Pankaj was a very reserved, quiet person. We ragged him till the point he said, okay, guys, I'm just going to join you and become part of this gang. I can't be myself. I can't be my introvert self. So that was a huge picnic, that show.
that's amazing. But how did you get Dekh Bhai Dekh? When and how were you approached for the show? And did you audition for the part?
Okay, so that's now a really long story. So I knew nothing about television because there wasn't that much television at that time. There was just one Doordarshan channel. I didn't know what shows were, and I think that time most of the shows were either being made in Delhi or I don't know. I was just not aware of anything, and I didn't want to be an actress basically. So it never occurred to me. Um, my brother is a sound recordist, and he was called by Anand Mahendru, the maker, to be the sound recordist on that show. And Anandji just told him that while you're coming along, actually, that time there was an editor called Sunil Salgia who knew my brother very well. So he said, why don't you bring your sister along? I know she is doing theater and she's a good actress. So he said, okay, she can come along. So I went along, not knowing why I had been called to that office. I'm sitting outside. Anandji wants to meet you. I sat for a long time, but Anandji had a lot of meetings and I had no idea what was cooking. Then I go in and he looks at me and he says, I'm, I'll just say some dialogue. It was from his earlier show called Idhar Udhar. So he said that the main character, the protagonist in that show was a character called Sunita. And I'll just say her dialogues. Just tell me what you think. So I just heard him out. It was a huge, long passage. I heard him out. I said, lovely, nice, great. So he said, can you repeat this? I said, I didn't listen to it thinking of memorizing it, but okay, from whatever I can, I narrated that the whole thing. And he suddenly looks to his writers and says, I got my chachi. So I said, Anandji, what are you talking about? Then he tells me I'm doing the show. It's called Dekh Bhai Dekh, and there is Naveen Nishchal, Farida Jalal, Sushma Seth, Shekhar Suman. And I said, my God, in all of this, what am I going to do? He says, I want you to play the character opposite Shekhar Suman. I said, oh my God, there are a lot of veterans, and I'm a nobody. I don't even know if I want to be an actor. And you're really throwing me into this. He says, yes, I know you can do it. And the writers were actually hesitant because I was very young at that time. And they said, how is she going to play the role of a mother of two children? So Anandji said, don't worry, I will make her look big. I'll give her loose clothes. I'll give her baggy clothes. I'll make her look the age. You don't worry about the look. I just know that she can do justice to that. And I'm so fortunate that it just worked out. As I always believe in destiny because I had no idea. It's not like I went for an audition. I didn't even know he was doing something like this. So it was a shock. And then that again, he says, okay, go get ready, do whatever you want to, because tomorrow you're on the set. So tomorrow, Anandji, it's already 12 o'clock in the night. He said, yeah, what do you need to get ready for? Just go, I'll do everything for you. So it was amazing. And that was not fun in the sort of way that Zaban Sambhal was fun, because that was a lot of hard work that went into Dekh Bhai Dekh. But yes, eventually it was fun because it was very successful and we had a blast shooting it. But it was a lot of hard work, I might have to tell you.
Ma'am, Dekh Bhai Dekh had such a big cast, so many renowned names. Even after 31 years, people still remember the title track,
Yeah.
the episodes, the characters. What do you think made that show so popular?
Everything. That's what I believe about any creative project. It is everyone has to be equally involved, equally passionate about what's happening. You can't have very good actors and have a writer who's like, ha, theek hai, kuch bhi kar lo. No. There was so much, that's why I keep telling you, there was so much hard work that went into that show. We would have a ready script, but in the morning we would all sit at the dining table, which you've seen on the show. We would all sit around that dining table and we would read, and then we would make alterations, suggestions. Everyone would give their inputs. By the end of that reading, it would be a completely different script, of course, with the approval of the writers. They were also part of that whole process. And then we would start shooting. And even while shooting, there were so many changes, so much. Everyone was passionate about that project. Everyone, even the set department would come in and, anything that was, no, even the set, the art director could ask for a retake because he felt that something, some plant in one corner was not the way he would have liked it to be. So it was that crazy a team. Everyone, even the spot boys used to love the whole process. So I think that's what makes it. It's the whole team effort and how much everyone was involved. We would shoot from 9 in the morning till 2, 4 o'clock, and we would still be okay. Next morning, we'd be there at 9. It was crazy. It was crazy. I don't see anything like that in today's day and age.
इतनी खतरनाक बीमारी है। याद है मेरे चाचा की भतीजी का हस्बैंड को हुआ था, उन्हें मीठा खाने का बहुत शौक था। भैया को भी मीठा खाने का शौक है, मगर वो तो बीमारी क्या है? डॉक्टर को शक है या यकीन?
यकीन के साथ शक जाहिर कर रहा था। कल ब्लड रिपोर्ट आएगा तो पता चल जाएगा ना। तुम अभी से इतनी नर्वस क्यों हो रही हो?
तब तक हम क्या करेंगे सोमो? भगवान न करे भैया को कुछ हो जाए। भैया के बगैर ये घर कितना सुना सुना।
तुम एक वीसीआर की जैसे हमेशा फ्लैश फॉरवर्ड में क्यों चली जाती? पर तुम इतना घबरा क्यों रही हो? देखो, अगर तुम ही घबरा गई तो भैया को मीठा खाने से रोकेगा कौन? देखो, इस वक्त ना उन्हें मीठा मिलना चाहिए, ना इस बात का पता चलना चाहिए। और हाँ, भाभी को भी नहीं।
Ma'am, you were paired opposite Shekhar Suman, sir, and who was very hilarious. He has his spontaneous one-liners, but you matched his energy so well. He spoke very fast, so did you. Was it planned, that your character will be so lively, so energetic? Was it improvised?
So initially, as I said, when Anandji cast me, he knew what he was planning for me. I was not aware because I was completely new. I had not faced a camera. I had not done anything before. So for me, I was molded. I was like plasticine in his hands, and he would just do what he wanted to. There were times when he would tell me, okay, I want you to take a breath, say this line, now take a break and say. So initially, I feel it is all Anand Mahendru who has actually molded Chachi's character. After that, of course, we got into the groove. We gelled as a couple. Our timing was perfect. We matched each other. I could speak as fast as him. And we got along like a house on fire. So that's what worked. But initially, it was planned by Anand Mahendru for sure. But I had no idea what I was going in for. So it worked.
Do you have any specific memories working along with him?
It was great fun because we got along, as I said, we got along fabulously. And of course, I had great respect for him because he was a veteran. But it somehow we never felt that distance. We were like the first day, I think, when we shot, we were like a couple already. So it was just perfect chemistry. And a lot of things, because he is very funny, he's very quick-witted. So I was able to match, like suddenly he comes up one day to me and says, Sonore, because my name was Sunita. And then somehow instinctively I said Somu. So it became a Sonure, Somure kind of a combination. Just it happened. And that was how it was with us. We kind of clicked. And I mean, Sameer Diwan and Sunita Diwan were a much loved pair because of our wacky uh, comedy. If there was one episode where I was writing a novel and I had made a jhopra in the house and all that, which was very, very appreciated. So for that character, he was supposed to come as a husband, one of those who, drunken husband who beats me. The once he walked onto the set, he came in this horrible getup, and it took me a good 2 minutes to recognize him. I said, "Oh my God, this person I work with every day, and we gel fabulously, and I can't even recognize him." So he was so great in creating characters and, bringing about humor more than it already was there. It was there in the writing, but he could actually dig deeper and bring out stuff. And similarly, he managed to get that in me also, where I could get much more out of the script than was just there superficially. So that is a great quality he has. He's not only funny himself, he brings out the funny in others.
I was reading somewhere he was called as a tough taskmaster, where someone in the cast mentioned that he took like 40 to 50 takes. And how
Yeah.
was it working with him?
Yeah, so taskmaster is an understatement, but it's all for the good of the project. So yeah, when you're working, sometimes you get like, there was one scene I did where I think we went to 27 retakes and I had to eat a chocolate. It was a 5-star. And I can tell you after that, I stopped eating 5 stars for another 15 years at least. I did not look at a 5-star because I couldn't handle it. So yeah, it was tough working with him because he didn't know what time, okay, it's not like a shift is over, we pack up. He just went with the flow. And I can understand because he's a hugely passionate man. He just wanted the best. So even though it was tough, for me, because I was new and because I was enjoying the process, I thoroughly enjoyed. There were people who would get irritated, who would walk out. I have always also been, I'm a very tolerant, I'm a very patient person by nature. So I can take a lot. And since I was enjoying what the end result was, I didn't mind however hard the work was or the tough times or the tough situations he was putting us through. And another thing I'll tell you, I've always been trained by taskmasters. I was trained as a dancer by Gopi Krishna, my Guruji. He was also very, very tough. On stage, after I had done my first stint with Bharat Dabalkar, I was trained by Dinyar Contractor, who was again a very tough taskmaster. So I think for me, if it's not tough, I'm not going to enjoy it. So I need that challenge. I need to be trained, and I want that little hard work because otherwise I feel like, no, it's not worth it.
Do you think Dekh Bhai Dekh can be remade today? And if yes,
अरे
what
वाह, कितनी
aspects
लंबी
would you
classes हैं?
think can be kept same? What changes would you make according to today's
अरे
audience?
आंटी जी आप ये क्या कर रही हैं?
If you ask me
अच्छे अच्छे नए नए
personally,
थॉट्स आ रहे हैं, so लिख
I
रही हूँ.
always believe that certain things should not be touched. I feel there have been talks of Dekh Bhai Dekh being made again or being made into a movie. You can still maybe think about it, but I don't think it should be made for television again because we will not be able to give that kind of quality and that kind of course, I'm not saying we will not. I don't think we can because everyone will want a daily. Today, you can't go to a channel and say, we're going to give you one episode a week and you put it in somewhere. So they'll want us to make a daily. And when you make a daily, you will not be able to give that kind of quality. Also, a lot of our actors, I mean, the person who played my father-in-law, Dadaji, he's no more. Naveen ji is no more. And I would feel very sad replacing people just because they are no more. And everyone's thinking is very different now. Everyone is looking at the world commercially, which was not the case that time. As I said to you, everyone was passionate. Today, I don't think you can expect a setting person to come and say, no, 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 my pot is not in the correct place. So times have changed. And though people keep talking about Dekh Bhai Dekh coming back, I personally think it should just remain the historic show that it is.
If you could bring back any one show I know Dekh Bhai Dekh you're saying should not be remade, but as a viewer, if you saw any 90s show and you thought, okay, this can be remade, like
Remade.
anything.
I don't think anything should be remade because there's such fabulous shows. I don't want anything to be remade. But what would fit in? Oh, are a lot of I don't know. If you knew, there was a show called Khandan. There were shows which were a little new age at that time. So there was a show called Subha, which did not get much. It didn't. They didn't do too many episodes. It was directed by a director called Bharat Rangachari. It had R.D. Burman's title song. It was on the drug problems. I think today it would work fabulously. Though it was a brilliant show then, I think that could be remade and it would work. There were shows like Khandan made by Sridhar Shirsagar. Again, very modern and very forward in those days. Today, I'm sure they would do a fabulous job with shows like that. But certain things like a Bunyad, I don't want anybody to touch a Bunyad. I don't want anybody to touch a Dekh Bhai Dekh because they were so fabulous that you bring them back in today's day and age as they are. They still work. And people are watching them on YouTube and stuff like that. So I feel that should not be touched.
How was it shooting with such big cast? Was it fun? What were the challenges you faced during the filming? What are your memories of Take by Take?
So it was, as I said, it was unnerving thinking that, oh my God, now I'm going to be sharing screen space with such big people who've done so much work. But they were all so good. And well, initially, of course, Naveen ji has always been a sweetheart. He's always taken to me very lovingly. Shekhar was great fun because we formed a rapport right away. Farida ji, I have a very funny story about Farida ji. She was, of course, the biggest star of all of us. So she wanted her little respect. And of course, we all gave her due respect because after all, she is a senior and a fabulous actor at that. So she happened to see some scene. I don't know what happened. Anandji called her one morning, and before I had come, my call time was later. And he showed her some scene that I had done. I think probably the 5-star chocolate scene. And he said, just look at this girl, look how she performs. So Farida ji saw the whole scene, and the moment I reach, I have a message waiting for me that Farida ji wants to meet you. I said, oh my God, have I done something wrong? Is she going to scold me? What's up? I go to her room, she gives me a tight hug, and she says, my God, I'm a huge fan. I can't believe that you are acting for the first time. I saw what you have done yesterday, and hats off to you. And I would love it if you share my room with me. I said, no, Farida ji, I want to give you your space. You please keep your room for yourself. But thank you. It's a huge compliment. And now I feel comfortable. I'm not as nervous. She said, I'm a huge fan of yours. Just so brilliant. I said, thank you. And that was such an icebreaker for us. And after that, even today, I just pick up the phone sometimes and talk to her because I have done projects with her after that. And it's such a wonderful relationship. There's so much mutual respect. We just love each other. And we don't have to talk every day, but whenever we do, there is a connect. We can just vibe very well. So that was the icebreaker when she saw my work. And being an actor, she respected another actor. I just hats off to her for being so lovely to me.
Ma'am, I remember that there were a few episodes where your entire team went to London. How was the experience? Do you have any stories or memories or behind the scenes memories of that, those episodes?
So that was again one of those many things that Anand Mehndru does overnight. He just took us to the visa office. All of us gave our interviews. We got our visas soon enough. And the moment we got our visas, he says, Chalo, I've got you on the 4 o'clock flight and the next morning. He said, Anandji, we need to pack. He said, just go. Your clothes are coming with the unit. So just don't worry. Everyone's off. And the writers were under tremendous pressure because you're taken to London and suddenly you have to write episodes over there using the parks, the malls, and our writers said, we can't function like this. If we had known, at least give us 1 week's notice. They were all taken there and then they can't enjoy London. They're made to write. So they said we've all reached a writer's block. So then what we decided is to break the unit into a couple, like Shekhar, me, and I think Vishal would go to some park and they said, go do some gag over there. So we would have one writer with us who would come up with some kind of a joke and we would shoot it separately. And but the funny, or I'm not saying funny actually, the odd part of it is most of the shooting that we did was without permission. So there is this one incident. As soon as we landed in London, Anandji said, "Go wear this costume and come." I said, "Anandji, we're not even, you just landed." He said, "Yeah, yeah. So while we're in the airport, I want to shoot." And he did this whole chase sequence where I'm running and there's this goon following me and Shekhar is following that. And it was chaotic because we didn't have permission, so nobody knew we were shooting. So one lady goes and calls the cops. Now the cops land up. So I am by one assistant takes me into one bathroom, hurdles me there, says, "Change your clothes quickly, get into some other costume, take off whatever, don't look like the person who was running through the airport." I said, "Okay." And it was so much pressure because there were cops waiting outside. But we just managed. I know that that's not a good thing to say and not a good thing to admit on camera, but it was fun at that moment. It was hugely thrilling, but we got a very good sequence. If you watch some of the episodes, you will see me running through an airport. And that lady panicked. She said, "There's a lady being chased by this man and there is chaos at the airport." She called the cops and the cops arrived very fast. But I managed to get out of my costume and came out like a normal person and nobody knew what was going on. So I feel, I mean, maybe it's a thrill of doing something illegal, but it was fun. And London shooting was not as much fun, maybe because we were under tremendous pressure, where we weren't getting the scripts in time, we weren't able to come up with enough stuff. But, and of course, being in London, we couldn't enjoy London as much, but it was a thrill. Definitely very thrilling, and people enjoyed the episodes a lot because I think that was one of the first times Indian television got to see a city like London. So everyone really enjoyed those episodes, whatever they were worth.
Dekh Bhai Dekh was a weekly show and it was aired once a week. Everyone eagerly waited for the next episode. Now you can see that there are daily shows, daily soaps. How do you think things has changed over the years in TV industry?
Oh, drastically, because as you said, now people, I mean, that's the excuse that is given that everyone's memory is very short-lived. Like even if you see, you have films which were long films, and you've got shorter films. Now you've got web series. Now you've got reels. So everyone's attention span is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So which is why we are told that no one is going to wait for a week for the next episode. My thinking, on the other hand, is if you give them something good enough, I expect people will wait. But now that's a whole, it's a different thinking. But commercially, things have changed drastically also because in those days, payments and television was not as big as it is today. Today, everyone wants to be a television actor because it's instant money, it's instant fame. And you're talking money that one never even imagined in those days. I mean, people today are charging for an individual what that time an entire episode used to get made. And we were never paid per day. So it was like we would sometimes work for 7 days on one episode and get paid for just one episode. So, yeah, so money was absolutely not something you would think of if you're doing television. And today it's completely the opposite. People do television only for money. But having said that, there will always be quality will suffer because now you have to finish an episode or 1.5 episodes in a day to make it viable for the producer. So there is no question of good quality or retakes or anything. Either you can see people are fumbling, people are going through their dialogues, but it's just, it's the demand, it's how the industry has evolved. So you can't really blame it, but that's how it is. As of now, I don't have anything in the pipeline. But of course, as I said, a lot of offers come. I have to find the correct thing that I know I will be able to be comfortable with this particular thing. I'm doing some theater meanwhile because I love theater. And when I get the time, I want to do live stage performances as much as possible. So I have been rehearsing for a show called Help Desk, which again is something different for me because it's experimental theater and I've always done commercial theater. So for me, this is an experimental show for the first time. So currently I'm busy rehearsing for that. So I always keep myself busy. I write. I look forward to some good projects coming my way. I do have something which I'm in talks with for the OTT platform, but of course it's too raw and fresh to talk about right now. It's in the mm, absolute new stages. So yeah, I hope that you'll see me soon because I'm never going to give up acting, as I told you. Now that I'm an actor, I'm not doing anything else. But and nothing in the pipeline as of now, concrete.
Thank you so much for joining us today and making
Thank
this
you.
podcast so special. I hope you continue to entertain and inspire us just like you always have.
Thank you so much. And I'm so happy I got to talk to you. And I love the way you have done your research and you've come up with questions that are very pertinent. Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure talking to you, Tanu.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I hope to see you soon.